If you've ever wondered how are interpersonal communication and conflict resolution similar, then this video is for you. If you're like many Americans in the post-COVID world, you've spent some time in the last year or two perusing job listings, and as you read them, you might often notice in the required competencies part of the listing, qualities like strong interpersonal communication skills, or conflict resolution skills, or interpersonal and conflict handling skills required. If you're like many, you might be left wondering, do I have these skill sets, and how are they similar, and how are they different? In this video, I'm going to discuss 3 key ways interpersonal communication and conflict resolution are similar, and I'll discuss 2 key ways in which they are different from each other. Finally, be sure to stick around to the end as I debunk a common myth that many people have about both interpersonal communication skills and conflict resolution skills. I'm Bob Bordone. I'm a senior fellow at Harvard Law School, where I founded the school's Negotiation and Mediation clinical program, and I'm also the founder and a principal at the Cambridge Negotiation Institute. So, interpersonal communication is the full set of ways that we build relationships and that we manage differences with other people. Conflict resolution involves many of the same sets of tools and skills, deployed especially in those moments when our differences have escalated into more open disputes and conflict. Both interpersonal communication and conflict resolution involve a set of relationship-building moves that help parties build rapport and build trust with each other. In the context of interpersonal communication, that set of relationship-building tools might be in service of agreeing on how to form a joint venture, or what the terms of a new contract might be for you to accept your next job and begin your post-COVID reinvention. In the context of conflict resolution, the set of skills are in service of working through a conflict or dispute that has already risen. Indeed, interpersonal communication and conflict resolution skills are so similar that I often teach the same set of skills in my workshops on influence, negotiation, and interpersonal communication as I do in my workshops on conflict resolution or handling. The main difference, of course, is context. Second, both interpersonal and conflict resolution skills are about how we work to align intentions and impact. That task may sound easy, but we know from a lot of research, and sadly from a lot of experience, that it's incredibly hard to do. So let me kind of give an example of what the gold standard is in terms of this aligning intentions and impact. If you look at the front of an ambulance in many parts of the world, you'll see that it's written in a peculiar way. It's the word ambulance or emergency, but it's written backwards. Now, whoever designed these ambulances, I think, were incredibly brilliant communicators. Why? Because they spent some time thinking about who is the target audience of this communication. Is the target audience someone looking at the ambulance when it's parked in a parking lot? No. The target is a car that's going to be riding in front of the ambulance as the ambulance is speeding down the road, possibly with a dying patient. Therefore, the driver of that car is going to be looking through the rearview mirror. And if I want the person driving that car to see the word ambulance or emergency, I need to write it backwards, because then my intended recipient will see the word ambulance. And so whether it's in an interpersonal communication or conflict resolution, that aligning of intentions and impact is part of the work of being successful. Another piece of the work of being successful is thinking about how do we frame our communication in a way that makes it possible for the other side to kind of say yes, to see it as an easy choice for them. So there's a story of a seminary, and a young seminarian goes up to the friar in charge, and he says, Father Superior, may I smoke while I pray? And as you can imagine, the answer to that question is almost certainly no. So the intentions of the seminarian is to get permission to smoke while he's praying, but the way he frames it almost certainly guarantees a no. So intentions and impact not aligning. But consider that 10 minutes later, another young seminarian goes up to that friar in charge and he says, Father Superior, may I pray while I smoke? And of course, the answer to that question is an easy yes. So here we see the intentions to be allowed to smoke while praying, get a yes, because the impact, the way in which it lands, makes it easy for the other side to say yes. And so in this latter case, there's an alignment again between intentions and impact, and it's all about framing. A third way in which these two things are similar is that they're both about listening, perspective taking, emotional intelligence, and effective assertion. So some of the main skills required for interpersonal communication and conflict resolution really are similar. I've spoken on this channel a lot about active listening. Active listening is required for both, but so is the deploying of emotional intelligence and perspective taking. Ken Feinberg is somebody who brilliantly displays the combination of interpersonal communication and conflict resolution skills. So Ken was appointed by former President George W. Bush to be the special master to design and administer the 9/11 Compensation Fund. In this role, he had to deal with many complicated interpersonal situations and serve as a grand communicator and framer. What he did effectively was combine skills of listening, emotional intelligence, and perspective taking to do this. So now let me share two ways in which interpersonal communication and conflict resolution skills are actually a bit different from each other. Interpersonal communication skills can be seen as encompassing a broader set of skills that often aren't included in conflict resolution. For example, public speaking skills, presentation skills fall within interpersonal communication, but typically not conflict resolution. Conflict resolution skills also can represent a more tailored and specialized set of skills, such as reframing positions to interests, or harnessing creativity, or bringing about an agreement or closure when very severe differences abound. Truth be told, interpersonal communication and conflict resolution skills are deeply connected to each other. So I want to end by debunking a common myth that many people share with respect to both interpersonal communication and conflict resolution skills. And that is that many people say these are really not skills that can be taught and learned. You are either naturally skilled, interpersonally likable, or you're not. So this just really isn't true, because in fact, interpersonal communication skills and conflict resolution skills, they're like any human talent or skill, whether it is playing a musical instrument, or doing math, or playing a sport. I'm never going to play tennis as well as Serena Williams. Why is that? Well, it turns out Serena Williams just has a lot more natural, God-given talent than I do as a tennis player. But here's the thing. If I learn a lot about the game of tennis, and if when I practice, I'm really self-reflective, and if I hire a coach, I am going to get better. Now, it's probably the case that none of you will ever want to play tennis with me. But here's the thing, and you don't need to know a lot about Serena Williams to know this, but Serena Williams is someone who knows a ton about the game of tennis. She is also really intense and self-reflective in her practice. And guess what? She has a coach. And that's because she knows if she doesn't do those three things, she will not be as good as she could be. So interpersonal skills and conflict resolution skills are just like that. The more you know about these topics, and the more when you practice them, you are self-reflective and thoughtful, and the more open you are to coaching, the better you will be. This is not a fixed skill set. It is a growth skill set. So I want to encourage you to learn more about these skills, and you could do it in a number of ways. Keep on watching videos on this channel. Consider taking a class on negotiation, influence, or interpersonal communication and conflict resolution skills. And then practice these skills with an intention and rigor. For now, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the button. So stay tuned and watch this next video on how to improve your negotiation skills. I'm Bob Bordone. Thanks for watching, and let's keep negotiating together. Okay, keep watching.